We collect a lot of data in the beef industry and really all industries. The challenge we see along a lot of operations is just transforming that data into information, knowledge, and ultimately decisions. And so what I visited with the group today about was just the opportunity that exists to take that data, put it in a manner that the producer or the customer can turn that data into a decision. And that happens by putting it in a format that they can understand at a time when they need it and get it to the right people that are actually putting the practice in place. It's how do we take that data and turn it into a decision? And each kind of facet of the industry, whether that's genetics, nutrition, animal health, or the environment, each of those really contribute differently to how that data is going to transform into the decision. And the more of those layers that we can combine to put into that decision, it's kind of like a diamond. The more faces we have, the more valuable it is. And so we look at technological solutions that can layer in genetic, nutrition, and animal health data that ultimately can transform into a decision, and it's valuable at the right time. Data collection in the future will be very passive and non-disruptive in that, today it's very mechanical and it's a lot of work and arguably limits a lot of the database decisions that we have. With the technologies that are coming down the road, there'll be a tremendous amount of data gathered in a way that producers may not even know what kind of data is being gathered. And the storage ability for data is immense today with the cloud. And so we'll be able to get new information about animals and their behavior that we didn't even gather previously to incorporate into some of those other genetic and nutrition components, for example. Connected big data has a tremendous amount of value for prospecting those traits that maybe we haven't thought about now. And that big data it's great in some manners and it's challenging in others, but it allows us to think about relationships that maybe we traditionally wouldn't look at two traits being related and maybe not even be able to draw a biological link to, but it says these two traits work in a manner that you should investigate further. So it doesn't actually tell you the answer, but it tells you where you should start looking at a deeper level. Health is has such an impact on profitability, and so what are the behavioral aspects that we're not able to detect with our eye that machines and technology allow us to observe deviations from normal and how that animal may be different than his pen mates, but that may be normal for him. And so those opportunities for sensors and other monitoring devices to pick up on those differences and ultimately provide additional information, whether that's the animal's genetic potential for good health or his potential to perform as it's impacted by health, is really some of the opportunities the future holds. So when I think about the practicality of implementation, it starts with an ear tag based system, in that if you can't individually identify an animal, then largely you can't manage that individual outside of a group. Ultra high frequency tags allow us to expand our read range in that 16 to 30 foot range, to where now a device that I'm already using that provides a solution can be a component of sharing information up and down the supply chain through a cloud-based data system. So when we think about a cloud-based system, our platform, for example, would be a cloud-based model where when I put in information, it goes to the cloud, and now anyone who has access to that account, frankly, sees the decision and information that I put in. So in a performance beef account, when the nutritionist changes the diet, it instantly comes down from the cloud to the feed truck driver, and he's able to make a feed change that may have occurred while the nutritionist is on vacation or at another client's operation, because the cloud allows data sharing in a seamless manner in real time. And so the part that I would share with a seed stock producer is, so is that the way you like to convey information, or is that the way the customer likes to see it? Because that's a different question.
Okay.
Right? Like the reason I use Google or an iPhone or whatever is because I like a user interface. Is the catalog what your customers are used to looking at? Is it the best way to convey information, or is it the only option I have? The seed stock supplier thinks about sharing information, So while it may be how they like to share information, the challenge is think about how the customer needs to make decisions based off of that information and make that user experience as seamless as possible. And get feedback on the catalog itself, not just the cattle. Because at the end of the day, if they're able to get more information because of the way it's presented, that's a far better customer experience than just not making a decision because it wasn't presented in a manner they liked. The Angus breed is foundationally ingrained in data. The thing I would challenge them to think about is how can that data move beyond selling a bull? Ultimately, how can I assist my commercial customers with making better management decisions? Or how do I get more information on my seed stock operation by now partnering with my commercial customers, tracking data in a cloud-based way that now is seamlessly integrated into the genetic evaluation, whereas before much of that customer-focused data would have been lost because largely the relationship ended with the trading of genetics, not as a part of their management team throughout the supply chain.